Ja'Marr Chase isn't a newbie to the NFL. However, he is clearly still in the early stages of his career, but already it's beginning to look like he will go on to become an NFL legend. This might be his reality, but just a couple of years ago, there was skepticism about him making it to the NFL and excelling in the league. Of course, this wasn't because he wasn't good enough, but because he stayed away from football for a full year, so it made sense that some people doubted his return. Although their worries were valid, they were actually wrong, as Chase not only got drafted into the NFL as the 5th overall pick, he has gone on to set as well as break a couple of records. So how did it all begin for Chase? Here's the truth about Ja'Marr Chase. Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver Ja'Marr Chase is obviously a big star in the NFL today. Nonetheless, he became a star long before he was drafted. As early as 2016, while in high school, Chase was already a star. He was the 84th overall recruit and the 15th receiver prospect in the country. As a 4-star recruit, he had offers from a few schools. Well, he chose Louisiana State University, LSU, ahead of the others he could have attended. But this wasn't before making temporary commitments to the University of Florida and the University of Kansas. In his freshman year at LSU, Chase played 14 games, recorded 23 receptions for 313 yards, and had 3 touchdowns. His numbers were okay for a freshman, but were nothing compared to his numbers his sophomore campaign. You see, in his second season, the now Bengals wide receiver took things to a whole new level. He burst onto the scene with 1,780 receiving yards, 84 receptions, and 20 receiving touchdowns. With this, he set an SEC record that lasted a year before being broken by 2020 Heisman winner Devontae Smith. However, beyond his personal records, LSU didn't lose a game that year. They were so good, they won the 2019 College Football Playoff National Championship. Beyond the collective award he won with his team, he was awarded the Biletnikoff Award as the best wide receiver in college football. The college football world expected Chase to continue his fine campaign in the 2020 season, but what he did next shocked everyone. He opted out of the season as he needed to focus on his NFL career. Not many people knew exactly what he was up to, as they didn't think going away for a year was a smart move if he needed to stay season ready. They possibly had a point, but Chase had a plan. He was advised by his agents to sit out of college football in 2020 to avoid getting injured. This move was a risky one and could have affected his chances of being drafted, but his agents assured him he would get selected early in the 2021 draft. NFL rules state that a player can only get drafted into the NFL 3 years after high school. Chase's decision to stay away from football for a whole year was quite a smart one. Nevertheless, it came with some drawbacks. Just as his agents had promised, the wide receiver got selected 5th overall in the 2021 NFL Draft. Additionally, he was given jersey number 1, a number he wore in college. This made him the first person to put on that jersey number in the history of the Cincinnati Bengals. Although Chase's talent wasn't in doubt, staying away from the game for a year wasn't the best for him, as he struggled in preseason and in training camp. As much as his struggles were real, they didn't last the test of time. And one reason for this was perhaps the fact that he reconnected with quarterback Joe Burrow, whom he had played with in college. Chase showed a lot of struggles with catching the ball in training camp, and this made several people think he had a huge chance of turning out to be a disappointment. He seemed to be a bit rusty from sitting out all of 2020. However, everything changed when the season started. In his first game of the season, Chase's connection with Burrow was out of this world. Against the Minnesota Vikings, the wide receiver connected with Burrow on a 50-yard touchdown pass late in the second quarter. Of course, this was a great start. The dude wasn't done.
Going deep, Ja'Marr Chase. He's got it. Chase to the end zone. That's a Bengal.
He was really just getting started. In his first 3 games, he was able to score a minimum of 30-yard receiving touchdowns in each game. In his first game in the NFL, Chase had 101 receiving yards and a touchdown. In the next 2 games, he scored 3 more, and with this, he set a record as the youngest player in the NFL to catch 4 touchdown passes in his initial 3 NFL games. At the end of his debut month, Chase was able to record 220 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns, going on to be named Rookie of the Month. Ending his first month in the NFL as the Rookie of the Month was great. It seemed like when the lights came on, he came on, and he was just getting started. In a game between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Green Bay Packers, which ended 25-22 in favor of the Packers, Chase scored a 70-yard touchdown in the last minutes of the first half, and this was enough to get him named Rookie of the Week honors. Chase was playing like an already established receiver, but the world hadn't even begun to see the levels of his true potential yet. In a Week 7 game between the Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens, the wide receiver scored an 82-yard touchdown and recorded 201 receiving yards.
The races, this will be 6. What a play!
With this, he was awarded the AFC Offensive Player of the Week for the first time in his young, budding career. That's not all. After 7 games in the NFL, Chase already had 754 receiving yards. This was an NFL record that he never really planned to set, but his performance in the league made this possible. At the end of his rookie season, Chase ended with 81 receptions for 1,455 yards and 13 receiving touchdowns. He ranked 4th in receiving yards and 3rd in touchdown receptions in the entire NFL. The Chase-Burrow connection was so lethal, it led them all the way to a 10-7 record and Super Bowl 56. At this point, the entire league knew they had a problem on their hands. Chase didn't get injured in his first season in the NFL. Sadly, his second season didn't have the same fate. He missed 4 games due to a hairline fracture in his hip. Regardless of this, with 87 receptions and 1,046 receiving yards, he was still the Bengals' leading receiver. In the 2023 NFL season, Chase got injured twice. First, he injured his back in a Week 9 game against the Buffalo Bills. He had landed awkwardly while trying to make a diving catch. Interestingly, this injury didn't keep him on the sidelines. His next injury was in a Week 15 game against the Minnesota Vikings. He injured his shoulder and had to leave the game in the 4th quarter and didn't play the next week. Nonetheless, he finished the season with 7 touchdowns and 100 receptions for 1,216 yards. Chase is obviously very promising and could go on to be the face of the league. He has already broken several NFL records, but there's still a lot of ground to cover if he's going to make it to the very top. Hopefully, he stays injury-free for as long as possible. The league awaits his full potential. If you had a blast watching this, smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay updated on our latest crazy content. Drop a comment below and let us know which moment blew your mind the most. Catch you on the next one.